DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful international break. This is the Key Pass Collective, and we are so excited to be back. We've got a good show here for you today. As a little reminder, my name's Joe Williams. I'll be your host here for this particular episode, and most of them, but I just always say that. Anyway, reminder, the Key Pass Collective, the audio companion to the Draft Society website. We've got your rankings, we've got your stats, articles, everything that you need to dominate the draft fantasy game. Also, a little aside, it's worth noting that we've also just dropped our newest set of consensus rankings. Over the international break, we tried to make up some rankings. Admittedly, this time I slacked off / was sick. So cheers to Chap 1 for filling in for me. But consensus rankings out now. Check them out. Top 75 is free for everybody on the planet. If you want, sortable rankings by position, by team, by analyst. So you only want to see Ryan's rankings. You only want to see Gavin's rankings. You only want to see Draft Lad's rankings. Whatever it is, you can get that by joining the Inner Circle. What is the Inner Circle, you ask? That's a really great question, dear listener. So if you join the Inner Circle, couple bucks a month, we've got a ton of things that you actually will be privy to then. Player projections every single week, rest of season rankings that are made weekly by Robbie, and they're incredible. Fixture difficulty tracker for every single position on the field, set piece taker trackers, ghost point tracker, as well as an accompanying article by Ryan, personalized confidential trade advice. It's all there. It's a lot. There's a lot. You really do get a lot, we hope, for your money. So let us know if you have any ideas about how we can make it even a better deal. But Inner Circle, if you're interested, check it out. Okay, there's the pitch. Let's get down to it. Welcome back in, listeners. We've missed you. I hope you've missed us in your ear holes. But we are back. Prep you for game week 9. And also, we are going to do a lot of true false. We've missed it. Well, one of us in particular, Ryan, you've missed your baby. True false.
True. I absolutely have. I missed that, and I've missed you guys. I don't remember the last time we've had the fearsome foursome together.
Seriously,
it's been a long time.
Yeah, it definitely has. Fearsome foursome means that there's seems to be one person that maybe is not often here but is joining us today. Would that be one Draft Genie?
Yep, I'm here, ready to go.
Love it, man. Welcome back. How are you?
Been really busy. Track started again, school started again, work, of course. Have an exam tomorrow that I'm currently writing notes for as we speak. So,
wow.
If I start talking about random stuff by accident, that's my bad.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll give you some grace on that. That's fine. Thanks for joining, man. Toddy, last but not least, how are you, my friend?
I was good until a few minutes before the podcast started. I just booked my holiday with the family. I've already started planning for my trip to London in 2 weeks, which I'm gonna have a tweet out for to organize some kind of palooza, maybe a draft.
Beautiful.
But then I saw that Coolio was dead.
I know.
So it all came crashing down.
I did not see that coming. Well
I
done.
didn't either. I did not either. That's amazing, Toddy. Yeah. No, you're right, man. You're right.
I mean, I think there's a chance that they're canceling the Game Week 9 games.
There is a chance for the funeral.
I mean, they should really. if they did for the Queen.
Can I tell you a little bit about my Coolio experience? So this will be quick, I promise. But the very first time I ever made an email account, it was through Hotmail, of course, as they always were back then. My password was Coolio to my email account. My first ever email account. My password was just Coolio.
To this day, it is still your password.
Yeah, I haven't changed it yet. Yeah. Except for now they make me put a 1 in there instead of an I. Yeah, my password was Coolio.
I mean, that's a touching story.
Thank you. No, but apparently he meant a lot to me, my middle school self. All right. Anyway.
I understand.
I'm sorry for your loss, buddy.
I'll cope.
Okay. All right. Well, let's cope with some true false. 1 second.
Tell me the truth. You owe me that much.
All right. We all have some true false statements here.
And Ryan, how are you?
Good, man.
I just assumed Ryan.
you.
Yeah, Ryan's even keel, man. I assume
Yeah.
he's fine.
No, I'm good.
You okay, buddy?
Totally fine. Yeah,
All right.
I think so.
All right. Okay.
Appreciate you asking. Thank you, Toddy. Glad people in Europe
Someone
still have
cares.
manners.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, just it is what it is. All right, let's do it. Okay. So this is going to be one of those weeks where we get an email that says, you guys should really just get to the content.
Yeah.
No, guys, sorry. We're human beings and we like each other. We like to catch up. We don't talk that often. I mean, we talk every day, but not like with voices. So anyway, you get it.
We may need to timestamp the first time we talk fantasy.
It's okay. I love you guys. All right. Anyway, Ryan, I'm glad you're well, buddy. All right, let's move on. True, false. Here we go. In fact, I'll come back to you first on this one, Ryan, because just I feel like we've now left you out of the loop a little bit, and I'm feeling guilty. It's fine. It is what it is. Okay. My first true false statement is this. Until further notice, there are only 2 viable starters for Brighton. I'm talking fantasy assets, of course. Viable starters in the draft game. Upcoming fixtures: Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, City, Chelsea. What say you?
Can I first ask what you think who you think the 2 viable starters are? I can guess, but just for the listeners' purposes.
Who do you think they are?
Pascal Gross and Leandro Trossard.
Precisely.
Yeah. I'm gonna say false.
Okay.
I think during some of those fixtures, yeah. But Spurs isn't a difficult matchup for attacking players, at least. And Brentford, Nottingham Forest are 2 great fixtures.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be opposed to starting March or Welbs, Caicedo, potentially McAllister, especially for the Brentford Forest games. And yeah, if the new manager comes in and likes the cut of Estupiñán's jib, and we get to see what he can do, then yeah, he's playable as well. So I'm gonna say false.
Okay. I like it. I mean, spoiler alert, my answer is also false.
Fair enough. That's your right. That's the beauty of true or false.
Yeah, I thought you shouldn't always have like true ones where it's like,
yeah.
Usually if I craft the statement, I tend to believe that it's true. But in this case, I did it specifically the opposite, and I'll tell you why in a bit. But Jeannie or Toddy, do you guys want to tell us your thoughts on this one?
I'll jump in. For those listeners and my fellow analysts, who read my waivers drop, which was like 2 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I snuck in a video the Tifo podcast did on the new Brighton bosses tactics, the Zerbi's tactics, and
I watched that today.
How that is a good way to get back into the footballing life. It's a fun video, I think.
Yeah.
and it's something that will get you excited about the new project at Brighton. And I before I saw you had already put in the two true or falses that you did, and I wanted to go with different teams, so I didn't touch Brighton. But my one true or false would have been, had you not written the Brighton one before me, was that De Zerbi will do a better job this season with Brighton than Graham Potter will with Chelsea.
Oh.
And I'm building up to saying that the depression of perceived value of Brighton assets when Potter left, I think if that is still the case in some people's head, people will think that this is a true statement. And I think it's a good way to talk about Brighton assets, and I think it's a good segue into me suggesting to just check out how Brighton assets managers are, because I think they may have some bad games at the beginning until they get to grips with the new system, but I expect them to be very good after the World Cup. This next stretch will be iffy, but I think he's a good manager, and I think Brighton players are very good, and they have been coached very well. So I think that's definitely a false statement.
For those of us who haven't watched that video, who do you think stands to gain the most from the new manager, or is it just kind of rising tides raise all the ships?
I think the system will be a bit different. It will
Quite
be
different.
Yeah, it will be less wing back heavy.
Yes, they stay back.
They stay back. They go. They don't stay back. They go into areas that they occupied under Potter, but they don't. They're not the instigators of attacks. If you know what I mean. They're gonna give the short pass to the midfielder cutting in or something like that, but
fewer crosses.
Yeah, fewer crosses, fewer key passes. I would think. I think the person or the players that with the most to gain, as in, I don't think Gross has any higher ceiling to get to, but I expect his value to be similar to where he is now. And I think the most to gain are forwards, whoever gets the job there. And that is the reason I'm holding one Dennis Undav. And Welbs could be a good beneficiary of the system as well. They're gonna shoot. They're gonna shoot a lot, and they're gonna score a lot.
Yeah,
they might concede more as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, basically, Ryan. It's a weird system, man. When you watch videos of his teams, so it's like center backs pushed up, and they're involved in like the build-up play, but the build-up play looks very interesting in that it is so many short passes. Sometimes you'll see just two players passing it back and forth between each other a whole bunch of times until they actually get pressure from the defense. Like, it's very interesting. It's very strange. It's like short passes all over the place until they can find something incisive, and then they pounce.
They would get Burnley to press them.
Yeah.
So after a while, you just get lulled into being so annoyed that you just press them.
It's possession ball.
Not Spurs. They won't fall for it. No.
Oh, are you just trying to reassure yourself before Saturday morning?
No, I know what's going to
happen. Anyway, so it's very attack minded, to the point where he's been criticized, that they leave a little bit too much at the back open for quick counters. But yeah, for the most part, I think people should be excited because it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to watch, and it's going to be a very unique style, very, very unique style.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and the goalkeeper needs to be able to play out too, because he's involved in those like really quick short passes, like around defenders. So it's really intricate too.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him play now.
Jeannie, any thoughts on this one? Because I really want your take on the next one, but I want to give you a second on this if you have any like pressing thoughts.
I kind of agree with everything being said. I was going to mention Toddy's boy Undav, or whatever his name was, but Toddy already name dropped him as someone who could benefit. I'm not exactly going to trade in Brighton assets. I don't mind trading out Gross. I've seen like people get great deals for him, so I mean, why not? He's, like you guys said, at his ceiling. But I'm not, crazy about dealing or not dealing Brighton. Kind of just like, let's see what happens and go from there.
Yeah.
So sorry, real quick.
You're fine.
Based on the fact that the wing backs are going to be out of favor, does that mean someone like March, who's had a kind of a mini revival this season, lose out?
I think
Did they play two up top? What's the formation?
It's a 4-2-3-1 usually.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I had been thinking of the Trossards and Marches and everyone who has played wingback, and I think the system under Potter was so fluid that you couldn't just say that March was an out and out wing back and he's gonna stay there as a wing back. So I think he definitely has a chance to nail down the spot either in the attack or in the midfield. So I wouldn't discount him. That said, I think the players who actually will play wing back will suffer fantasy production wise.
Got it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, Jeannie, I'm coming back to you because I want to hear from you first before we let Ryan jump in and defend his boys here. So my statement here for true false, depending on your waiver wire options, every single Aston Villa player is droppable.
When I think about it a little more deeper, there's only two I'm willing to hold, and one of them is like literally on his last chance saloon type wire things. Watkins, I think you could probably get someone to pay more than he's worth for sure, especially in 12 teams leagues. There's going to be one guy who's like, yeah, I believe in Watkins, and give you like a forward 1 or 2 for him.
Yeah.
And then McGinn, after what I saw last week, or however many weeks ago it was.
Time is a flat circle now. It's fine.
Yeah. That's the only other one I'm kind of interested in. The others I agree. I'd like drop them all. Coutinho even, 100%. If I had Coutinho, he'd be long on the waiver wire by now. He's garbage in fantasy. No offense to you Liverpool fans, but this was never going to work out. This Steven G. Coutinho link up when Gerrard's not even on the field. So I don't know what world that was going to work. Buendia, long drop. Anyone else I'm missing is definitely a drop there. That entire back line, just don't even look at them when they're available.
Brutal.
We are actually in a draft together with Brian right now. It's a 5-a-side draft with Banter Boys, organized by Banter Boys. And I had set myself the task of not drafting anyone who I have in any of my teams across my 4 teams this season. So I had to actually have a look at Coutinho and his production this season,
lack thereof.
And to be honest, as much as he has been abysmal. So like I had McGinn in the community league and traded him out because I was so disappointed in him. And I was scrolling down, and he is below McGinn in fantasy points. But if you have a look at like the glimmer of hope is that if you have a look at his actual starts, his starts are 6 points in a 2-0 loss, minus 1.5. Yeah, that's bad. Then 8. then
Yeah,
8.
that's not great.
8.5 and then 5.5, and it's all ghosts. So
Okay.
I mean, if they start scoring, which
Right.
I'm not sure they will. And he's like, it seems that Stevie G is even worse than Southgate with people in the starting lineup. So he's definitely starting. So I actually drafted him on this hope, but I'm not overly hopeful. So I'd say this statement is true, but Coutinho could have a revival if Stevie G did anything during the international break.
So you said the statement is true. Even Watkins?
I'm gonna caveat that Watkins in the 10 team could be droppable. In 12 team, I'd keep Watkins.
Yeah, same. So again, I think I'm false on this, but just barely. I'm talking like by a hair, and only because Watkins has some value. Even like Genie was speaking, like just name value, but like it's the thinnest of thin. I don't know, Ryan. What do you think? Talk me off this ledge.
I think it's false. I would probably not drop 6 Villa assets if
Wow.
pressed.
Okay.
Whoa.
All right.
And there's a degree, obviously, if if you really need the room. Some of them are
if you want
are
to win
borderline.
fantasy games.
All right. We normally talk about 12-team leagues, right? Normally we
Yeah.
do. Okay, so you have 6 in a 12-team league.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Watkins, Bailey, McGinn, Digne, and this is not like hold on, steadfast, don't trade them, but like don't drop them to the wire because they at the least still have trade value.
Yeah.
Buendia and Coutinho. All the rest, I totally agree. They've had a shit season. They haven't looked all that great. For Coutinho, I would say that yes, I think he'll still keep starting because he was named the man of the match the last game when they somehow got a victory. A rare one at that.
Yeah.
But just looking at their schedule, I mean, if you look at the fixture difficulty tracker, they are top for forwards in the next 5 weeks. Leeds, Forest, you got Chelsea in there, Fulham, Brentford, Newcastle.
Okay.
Not a bad schedule.
No.
Top for midfielders as well. So if they're going to have a mini revival, a la John McGinn's 12-pointer last game week, it would be now. So I'm willing to give them this stretch to see. And if they don't, then hopefully Stevie G gets sacked, and then you get a manager in that can actually work with talent.
Yeah,
Okay.
like somebody who recognizes Emiliano Buendia's talent.
Yeah.
You have convinced me. You have convinced me. Honestly, I
Unless you wanted to win fantasy games.
I'm being honest. You have convinced me.
Really?
Yes.
I got a bridge to say.
I'm still not convinced. Maybe McGinn.
Shocked.
Like maybe McGinn. maybe I could be pushed at Watkins. Not Coutinho, man. Like no, I definitely maybe Bailey. I don't know. He's the only one who kind of looks interested in the game at all. Like the rest of them just don't look interested. I'm definitely not convinced by Digne, Cash, or I don't care if they're playing like a Sunday league team. I'm still not touching those guys.
Yeah, you didn't rank them in your top 150, did you?
No, I don't think so. Or like they were like 150 or something like that. If
That's
even. I ranked McGinn decently high, and Watkins, I think I gave him a fair ranking. I don't know about Coutinho, probably in the 80s or 100s. I definitely didn't rank Buendia.
Yeah, that
that
makes
I know
sense.
for sure.
That's fair.
Ugh, it's brutal. It's rough. So, Ryan, unfortunately, what it's sounding like to me is all of these players are sort of like hold and hope.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Bummer.
Well, I mean, there's still hope.
Yeah. That's fair. All right. All right. Well, yeah. So people who roster those players, sorry, I guess, but hey, Ryan provided you that glimmer of hope, so just cling to that. For all it's worth.
Blame me when
Yeah.
it was pear shaped.
All right, Toddy, I'm going to hand it over to you for your true false statements.
First one is Leicester will turn it around under Brendan Rodgers.
You couldn't even keep a straight face when you were reading out the true false.
We heard you.
It's not a good start.
We heard the crack of your smirk.
I mean, I've gone down the Joe route.
Yeah.
And say that it is false.
Writing things you don't actually believe. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's entertainment. It's I do not actually believe they have a really good stretch coming up for Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Wolves, in the next 5. Which will get them their first win of the season. There will be some excitement. They will score a few goals, but it's not going to be a proper turnaround. I think by the time the first ball in the World Cup is kicked, there will be another manager in at Leicester.
Okay. Man. So you wrote they'll turn it around under Braj, right? But
yes.
So you don't even think that he is going to be around.
I think they won't turn it around under Braj.
Oh, right.
True or false? That's false.
I got you. Okay. And this will be the run of fixtures that gets him fired if they don't do well, right?
Yeah. That 5-game run, if they don't get at least 3 wins in that, then that will get him fired.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm with you, by the way. But Ryan and Jeannie?
I'm gonna say true. Like, I do think they turn it around under Rodgers. I think their worst aspect about them is defensively by far. I don't think anyone's gonna agree. I really thought they were unlucky with that 6-2 score against Spurs. Ndidi really put them in the gutter there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought they looked really good attacking wise against them. Same as Brighton. I mean, they scored 2 goals. The issue is their defense. They're just letting in goals for fun. Against United, they actually were the better team. Chelsea as well, they were the better team. I just think there's been a lot of unluckiness, and they haven't properly replaced the in-form Ndidi that they're probably never getting back, sadly. As a Ndidi lover, I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they keep starting him at centre back, then how can they get him back?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other issue. That center back partnership is yikes. And obviously Schmeichel gone is a huge loss. There's a lot of issues there, but I do think they're going to turn it around, especially like attacking wise. They really look on it the last couple of games. I wouldn't be surprised if they start winning games like 4-3 or 4-2, stuff like that. I thought they were unlucky not to score 3-4, maybe even 5 against Spurs. Spurs really got lucky there. And that 6-2 score is really harsh on them. Same as the 5-2 one against Brighton. I did think Brighton were the better team, but they still put 2 past them. And I think there were some defensive and keeper errors that led to that 5, as opposed to the team just sucking under Rodgers. I mean, they have sucked in all honesty, but
Yeah.
I do have faith in Rodgers. I think he's a good manager. I think he has players who are interested in playing for him. I think Tielemans' head wasn't exactly at Leicester this summer, but he's starting to come back to it. Same as Maddison, exact same issue. It literally, if he gets Vardy in form, I think this team is set for a big resurgence.
Interesting. Okay. Ryan?
I think I'm squarely in the middle here. Both make good points. I'll say that I'm in the middle because I think both will be true. I think he will turn it around in this very limited stretch of fortunate fixtures, but long term, as in end of the season, I don't think he's going to be Leicester manager.
Yeah, I think that's probably true as well. There were a couple of like interesting bright spots even in that loss. Like if you look at somebody like a Castagne, in a 6-2 loss, he scored 4 points. He had an assist, but still, right? Like he was ghosting fairly well. He did decent.
Justin did too.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't know. Are you interested in? Yeah, Justin had 4.5 without the assist. Are you interested in these guys potentially for this run in?
Yeah, I am. Castagno was one of my streamers, especially for this week.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, they're available in most leagues. 34% Castagna and just under 50 for Justin.
Yeah, I'm willing to stream them during this run, especially if they show some life against Forest.
Interesting. Okay. I like that. That's kind of a mixed bag for us because it's anybody's guess, really. Here's a question. If you can get good value for somebody like Maddison, are you trading out or are you holding on the hopes of this good run?
What's good value? We have him at 9 in our consensus ranks. So he has not moved or even moved further up. Like he has leapfrogged Luis Diaz, Bukayo Saka, James Ward-Prowse, people who may have been considered ahead of him. Andrew Robertson was there ahead of him. No way.
So you got to hold.
No way you can get top 10.
Yeah.
Overall value for him. Like if you can get Trent for him or someone like that, obviously, yeah, do it.
Sure.
I don't think.
Robbie lowest on him at 12, which is still saying something considering the form.
Everyone else has him in the top 10.
Top 10. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Interesting. All right. Toddy, hit us with your next one.
My next one is true to form. Liverpool will collect 20 plus clean sheets this season. They have 2 so far in 7 games.
6, right? Because they didn't play.
6, yeah,
last
sorry,
time out.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
So about
nice.
a third, yeah.
Okay. All right. Who wants
Shoot,
to take it?
whoever.
I'll say false. I think in a very kind run of fixtures, they only got a third clean sheets. I know Matip has been injured and they've been forced to field Joe Gomez, but they just look
world class. Joe Gomez,
world class.
It used to be. I don't know what's going on, but I think they just look off, and I think they'll get it together for the most part, but not enough to get over 20. I'm guessing they'll hover around maybe 15 to 18 or so. So false.
It's a good line though. It's a really good line.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It feels like a Vegas line.
Yeah, over under 20.
I like it. Jeannie, what are your thoughts, man?
I'm definitely false. I'm trying to just think how many clean sheets they'll get. There's 20 games left? No, I definitely get that wrong.
38
games left. 30 games left. All right, 30 games left.
Not a sad guy.
No, definitely not.
They got to tell you how many How many games are left?
It's all right.
They got 2 clean sheets. Toddy's saying they're gonna get 18 more. No, definitely not. Not even close. I think they'll finish with like 12 to 15 total. I do think they'll start putting points on the board, but I think they're gonna win like 3-1, 4-1, 4-2. I just haven't been convinced by that defending. It's looked utter atrocious in my opinion. Their attack is still probably one of the best in the league. Their midfield as well. Thiago's not going to come and fix the world. Neither is Matip, who's getting older, and as we see, he'll probably collect a few more injuries. Robertson is missing. Trent has looked uninterested in defending, in my opinion. I mean, he's still going to be fine in fantasy, and he'll get a ton of assists, and still one of the best right backs in the league or in world, no doubt. But I don't know. It's just not for me. Henderson's looked like utter garbage this year, same as Fabinho. You're asking for a lot to change in order to get to that number, in my opinion. If it clicks, it clicks. But I still think they get top 4, no problem. But this clean sheet, no.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in the same boat, Toddy. As much as I hate to admit it, I don't think that means that they won't necessarily win matches. I just think, I mean, what's it's some kind of crazy number now where they've conceded first in like, was it like 9 games or something going back now? It's like a really unfortunate number. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's a lot. In all competitions, they've conceded first and gone behind to start the match, and it's just like, yeah, there's something off, and it's not just Matip coming back in. There's VVD doesn't quite look himself, and while I do think they'll turn it around, I don't think they'll turn it around to that level with the clean sheets.
Yep, I agree. It's false.
Oh,
it's false.
Oh wow, all of us false.
We all had the same idea. Did everyone write statements that you don't actually agree with? This is going to be interesting.
Guess we'll find out.
All right, nice. Ryan, hit us with yours.
Okay. This is something I've had an internal monologue in my head for the last few weeks. So yeah, wanted to flush it out with you guys.
Okay.
It's almost time to trade out KDB on a high.
Okay. First of all, define almost for us.
Not right now, but before the World Cup break.
Mm-hmm. Define high.
High as a fucking kite. Blunt to the face.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go through the different scenarios in which I would accept an offer, but let's just say you're good with the value. I mean, you can get basically whatever you want right now, is what I'm saying, and I don't know if you can later. Should I explain why I put this on, or should I give you guys the floor to give your answers first?
Let's hash it out, and then you can.
Okay.
And then you can kind of, because that'll be interesting just for us to kind of talk this one through.
Cool.
Who wants to take a chomp at it first?
I'll say false. As a KDB roster, unless it's a mega trade that involves essentially Salah or Haaland, and another quasi first rounder, then I'm not interested. And I don't think you can get that for KDB. I don't think you can get 2 game changers for him right now. And
you don't think you can get 2 top 10 assets for him right now?
No, I don't think so.
I think you could.
Here's an idea: Salah and Cancelo, who some people are down on.
I don't think. No. We have to put together a trade offer that people can actually make. So because Salah and Cancelo are not going to be on the same team. Yeah.
Good call.
It's like Salah and
Martinelli.
Maybe like Jesus and Diaz, or Jesus and Foden.
Sure.
or Trent.
But even then, you have to remember that's that person's like first 2 picks.
Trent and ASM or something like that.
Oof.
And I don't think
That's doable.
I think that's close to being doable, but I'm not sure I'd do it for KDB. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably the line.
That's
I think
interesting.
I think that's right.
Huh. Jeannie, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm right down the middle in it, and strictly going to say it depends on where you stand in your league and your team roster. I'll give 2 examples because I roster KDB in 2 leagues. One league, I won't trade him out unless I literally rob someone blind of him for him. Because in that league, I have KDB, Madison, Kane, Aubameyang, Bowen, my boy Aronson, and Anderson. And I if KDB rests, fine. If he goes out of form, fine. But like single-handedly, he'll get me to like 200 plus, or help me get there. Then in another league, I have KDB, Son, and then relying on Sancho, who's been awful, and I've worn people off, and I hate having him on my team. And then my next best player is Damari Gray, who is great, but then after that, it's like Thiago and I don't know, Aribo. Like in that sense, I'm definitely down to trade out KDB and trying to improve my balance a little bit. If I could get like a forward that's better than Brennan Johnson, who's currently my forward too.
Yeah, but
yikes.
that team is so imbalanced that not many of our listeners will have such imbalanced teams. Like, you didn't pick in rounds 3, 4, and 5.
No. So one team is the community league, and that one I drafted normally and also made just a ton of trades. And then the team that absolutely sucks, from what it sounds like, with KDB is one where I had 2 first-round picks in KDB and Son, and then didn't draft till the 3rd round, which I took Sancho, and then in the 5th, I think was my next pick, which I took Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I also have Mahrez just rotting like a core on the bench. So like that's a team where I've been actively trying to see if I could get like a 1st rounder and like a 3rd rounder and a 4th rounder for KDB. Like, can I get? Let me see an example. There was a trade I offered someone. I offered him KDB out for like Kane and Ward-Prowse and Fofana. Like something like that. I was trying to get, but that got shut down so fast. It's like no chance.
Yeah, but Ward-Prowse is a 2nd rounder though. So
I think he was taking 3rd round in this league though.
You're more looking at like Kane, Harrison, Bruno Guimaraes, and I would reject that as quickly as possible.
I would reject that as well.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, I've got some trash offers for KDB when I put it out there. I think someone sent me Firmino and like Tavernier or some garbage like that.
So the thing about it, Ryan, when you look at fantasy points per game in Fantrax, you see Erling Haaland at 21.5, which is insane, just ridiculous. You look at Kevin De Bruyne and you see an 18.5. But then you go over to thedraftsociety.com, which you always should do, and you check our useful draft metrics, which is where you can see the points per start, which is a much more representative number of what they're actually doing on the pitch when you would start them in a fantasy matchup. And you see that Erling Haaland is at 21.6 and KDB is at 20.6. The only 2 players who are above 20 points per start.
Yeah.
Although Firmino's 19.
Preaching to the choir and pushing on a open door. I don't need to be sold on KDB. I have him and I love him.
So do
the only reason do we all have KDB here?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I want to say we had this conversation before our drafts, and yeah, we all bet in. Yeah. So the only reason I've been thinking about it is just this kind of persistent fear that one, he either gets injured or run down by the World Cup. Two, even if he gets through that slog, then City focus not exclusively, but a lot more on Champions League as it gets to the nitty gritty, which is going to be their main goal this season.
Of course.
And those two factors are going to drag him down a little bit, whereas right now he's on top, and that's why I said almost time. You get another month of this type of production, and then you bet on trying to hedge against any of those negative scenarios coming to pass.
Yeah.
While you can.
It's not a bad idea. Oh, man.
No, it's tough. I haven't brought myself to take the next step, but I'm just starting to, ask the question.
It's an interesting one. I don't know that I can answer it right now either. It's such like a, you're pulling on heartstrings, but you're also, the pragmatist in you is thinking like, well, you've already got a bird in the hand. So, why would you gamble on? Yeah. Oh man, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
I seem to remember a few podcasts back I talked about always trading out on a high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think trying to trade out KDB is just that, trading out on a high. So in that sense, I think it's true.
When I wrote this, I thought you would buy on if anybody did.
I buy on the concept, the fact that
you just think it's going to be hard logistically to pull it off.
Exactly. So like the air is very thin at the top, and I just there has to be a very special, specific scenario which could get you the trade, and I think it's so rare that that like for anyone in mid-table, like after 12th or 13th or whatever, we can think of a gazillion different scenarios that we can put together trades. But for the number one guy, who all of us had as number one, by the way, in our recent ranks, it's just so difficult to get good value. So that's why I'm a bit skeptical. But in a sort of pragmatic sense, I think that statement is true.
Wow, I really teased a lot out there. So
that's a good convo, man. I like
point
that.
Of true and false.
I like that. Okay.
Okay, number 2. Speaking of the air being thin at the top, Arsenal-related question. Similar to Man City, an Arsenal stack is advisable. I tried to craft this in the most cautious of terms. This just means not in the sense that Arsenal's as good as Man City. 2, not in the sense that Arsenal rotates as much as Man City, but in the sense that you should actively try and get a lot of players from both teams because they attack a lot, score a lot of goals, and those link ups will pay off. So I just wanted to give that extra background.
Okay. Should we start with the stack master himself, Genie?
Yes, I wrote this with him in mind.
I agree offensively, but not defensively.
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay.
I really like the idea of having Martinelli and Jesus. If you could get that together, that's pitch perfect in my opinion. Odegaard, if you could get him in there, sure. But those are the two that I'm dying to have, Martinelli and Jesus together. Saka, I think it's going to be just too much to try and get it if you already have Jesus.
Oh.
And then Defensively, I'm not big on Zinchenko like some people might be. I know Ryan's not big on him either, so I kind of
No.
think we're in the same boat here. Xhaka, I mean, if you pick them up on free agency, go for it. I think if you stack 3 Arsenal attackers, you could be in for some very nice days, even against top teams. Like, I don't see why they can't put 3 past Spurs. I don't see why they can't put like 2 or 3 past like City and Liverpool. So I do think there's a lot of points to be had there, especially with Jesus loving a good shot, same as Xhaka, it seems, wanting to shoot more. So definitely, I'm on board with this.
Okay. It's interesting, Ryan, because like the draw of City assets is that they're gonna get some game time. Like when you have like you could go out and probably trade, let's say, I don't know, Jack Harrison probably, who's trending a little bit down, but still you could trade him probably straight up for Gundogan if you wanted to. And let's pretend you had, like in my team, I have Foden and De Bruyne, right? And so that makes actually a pretty decent little stack there. And if one of them misses out, the chances are that the other one's going to slot in. I don't know that you have that with Arsenal. Like, are you really burning bench spots on like ESR and Vieira?
No, that's why I prefaced it with the fact that it's not like City in the sense that
right,
we don't rotate that much, so you don't want to pick up rotating pieces in the chance that they start, but more in the sense that you don't mind not having a bit of diversity by trying to roster 3 players in a team that's attacking, and you get obviously the additional benefits if they combine for an attacking return, just in that sense.
I see what you're saying.
So I want to pose the question because I think I understand, although I don't agree with, but I understand the defensive stacking.
Just got to put that out there.
The defensive stacking.
I'm glad you. Yeah.
That Genie propagates a lot, but so if you're looking at like concrete examples, so we're talking about essentially four top 20 assets, right?
No.
Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard. So what you're saying is
top 25. Odegaard is what, 20?
20.
Oh no, you're right. Odegaard's 20.
20th.
Wow.
Yeah, and he missed obviously that last game as well.
So we're looking at top 20 assets, 4 of them, and you're saying that if you have a chance to trade in, you assuming you have one of them, if you have a chance to trade another one in, you should do that instead of a similar valued player, right? That's the statement. So
right.
if you like you've drafted Gabriel Jesus and you have a chance to trade in Martin Odegaard.
Yep.
And you have the team that has Martin Odegaard is giving you one player out of Zaha, Robertson, Odegaard, or Fernandes. These are 4 players just below each other in our consensus ranks. Their individual ranks are all over the place a bit, but they are trending towards this 20 spot. Why would you want to trade in a player who will have the difficult game week against on the same game as your other player, the blank on the same game week as your other player? If we are assuming that they have similar value,
I mean it works both ways. So obviously you'll have difficult games together, but you also have the pushovers together.
Yeah.
Odegaard isn't going to play in the World Cup, so you don't have to worry about that. Martinelli probably similar. He might be on the plane, but he's not going to play much, so no worries of injuries there. And you get the added benefit of linking up for attacking returns in a team that's cooking, essentially.
So you're essentially
if I have Jesus and I have the choice of Odegaard versus similarly valued players, yeah, I'm trying to get Odegaard in. That's
not me.
That's the essential question.
Okay. It's a false for me too. In that case.
Yeah, no, same.
I'd rather. I'd rather hedge my bets.
I think I'd rather have Pascal Gross than Odegaard rest of the season.
Wow.
Well, that's a whole different story.
Should I add that to the wager list?
You could, but I'm fairly down on him. I think it's partially because I roster him. Like I think we've seen him just completely disappear for matches, and it's a really strange thing, like how this team can be scoring so many goals. And yeah, he's popped up in the last couple of matches with more, but I think still like if you look at last season and you look at the majority of this season, aside from his 2 big scores, he is about at best like 8 point per match player.
I disagree with you, but
all right. I mean, well, the numbers agree with me, but
don't let those bother you.
and
so
I'll just say his 24 and 25 pointers came against Fulham and Bournemouth.
I think the real test will be the next 4 game weeks. It's Spurs, Liverpool, Leeds, and then blank. The blank in game week 12. I think if you can get out of that 4 game stretch, which is a 3 game stretch for them, and be similar value afterwards, then they have proven themselves to be a season long value holder. But
trust me, I want to be wrong about this, Ryan.
No, I don't know. So you're not happy with the production thus far this season?
I'm happy that I got him in the 3rd round, but had I not, been I don't know, I wasn't like so sick that I was incapacitated, but I was close. But I would have ranked him closer to Genie probably, where Genie has him at 29.
I mean, I'm not saying to trade KDB for him, but I'm saying
no, I got
similarly,
you. Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know that like over another, like in terms of stacking, I don't know that I would pursue him over another, let's say top 12 or 15 mid. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Like Ryan, you have Zaha at 14.
Disagree.
You have Zaha.
I wouldn't trade Zaha for him.
Yeah, but you have Zaha at 14 and Odegaard at 17, and I assume that you have a league where you have Jesus. If the opportunity arises that you can get either Odegaard or Zaha, you would go with Odegaard?
No, I just said that I wouldn't trade Zaha for him.
So you'd rather get...
There are exceptions to it.
Yes, but... Okay, you have JWP at 15. Would you rather...
Oh, that's a good one.
Would you rather...
That's a good one.
JWP or Odegaard? And this is not a value question. This is a stacking question.
Yeah. Like Odegaard in that equation, yeah.
Okay.
That's a tough one. Oof. So Odegaard basically shook out at number 11 in terms of mids for you all. 24 overall, just behind Trossard. What about Trossard?
Yeah, I'd still take Odegaard.
You take Odegaard?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
I'm still with Ryan on this. Just to chime in my 2 cents, I have Odegaard at 29, but if I was trying to get a nice Arsenal stack going, I have, for example, let's use Ward-Prowse at 23. I'd make that trade. I'd obviously try and get a little sweetener in there. But I'd do that for the sake of a decent stack. Like I wouldn't go and give up like I don't know, like Reece James for Odegaard.
Yeah.
But maybe someone like Phil Foden, another mid two type player. I have Foden ahead of Odegaard, but I think I'd still do that. Same as like St. Maximum and Grealish, and Harrison's the only one I'd be a little on. I have him ranked lower than the other guys I just mentioned, but just because of how high usage he is, you might want that set and forget type player. Odegaard, I'm not saying I love the guy. I mean, I think I'm the lowest on him, but I'm saying in terms of the stack, I would sacrifice like maybe 10% of value, something like that, to get that happen. Because as someone who loves a good stack, it has won me game weeks that I shouldn't have won. For example, like Bruno and Rashford linking up, and it was against Arsenal or Liverpool. I came back from like 35 or 40 points down because of that little stack, and I had one other United guy. I can't remember who it was, but those three just brought me back. I don't think it was him. But anyways, they brought me back from like the dead to win that matchup. So, and even my opponent was like, "Damn, I didn't even check scores because I thought it was over." But a nice stack could always win you games that you don't think you're going to win. So I'm definitely in favor of doing something like that, like trading out Foden or even Diaz. If you could get Odegaard +1 or something, then to have Odegaard and Jesus, something like that. But yeah, that's just my take.
I think it's well said.
That is well said, but I don't think we should move on.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I could talk for hours on why I think stacking is not good, and I think it's won me game weeks is such an out of context statement that although true, and I've seen and suffered against you, Genie, in that I still think that in the large context of things and in the player valuation of things, I don't see any positives in stacking at all. But let's move on.
Okay. All right, Genie. I know you got to take off, but hit us with at least one of your true-false questions.
Yeah, so mine is Potter will turn Chelsea players into top fantasy assets again. My take on that is false for sure.
Okay.
I think Reece James benefits. I don't know. I've just never been high on Chelsea assets, despite me taking Sterling so early, stupidly. But yeah, I don't know. I think he helps their team. I think they still struggle. I mean, they have good players. They just don't really fit well together. That's just my opinion. I mean, you're going to toss Sterling out at left wing back, hoping that he replicates Trossard when you have one of the best left wing backs in the league just sitting on the bench, eating dust. Makes no sense. You have a center back that you spent a ton of money on in Koulibaly and Fofana, who one of them is going to lose out if he continues to stick with Azpilicueta, who's a little past it, in my opinion. Mendy and Kepa, it's like pick your poison between what I've seen of them this season. And then you got arguably your best player who's probably going to get injured in the next 45 minutes that he plays in Conte. You're hoping for Aubameyang to come back from the grave and all of a sudden score 20 goals. Kai Havertz to replicate his one goal that saved his career. Mount to replicate what he did under Lampard, or even a little bit under Tuchel, but I don't know. This is just a disaster waiting to happen. Am I trading in Chelsea assets? I mean, I traded in Aubameyang, but I was desperate for a forward in that league, and I gave up like Olise, and he was like my mid-6 or something. So that I did, is so that way I can't get called out on that. But other than that, the only Chelsea asset I want to trade in is Reece James. I think he'll do really, really well because I think he literally has that spot on lock. If Chilwell doesn't get that left wing back spot, I don't know. I think that's a huge manager issue again. I don't know how Potter saves this team